All right, good morning. Wednesday, September 17th. Baseball and Coffee. We're back. We're doing it. Yesterday was a big day for the channel and for myself. Had a lot going on. Really thankful to everybody that was in the chat yesterday. It was electric. Big thanks to Lucas Giolito, for coming on, being the first guest on the program. Shout out to everybody who watched the Trey Savage video. That really helped me out a lot. That was really cool. So really appreciate that. Okay, so we're talking about maybe looking at a little bit of Connelly Early. Michael King getting whacked by the Mets. That's definitely on the list. My buddy Michael King. The Padres left him out there to rot because he's got to get his pitch count up. They got to see what he's got headed into the playoffs here. I mean, he was game one starter last year. Dodgers bullpen, all that. Okay, so Connelly Early, maybe real quick. We'll go ahead, but let's go do the standings. And we'll take a few more votes. And we'll see where we want to head. Blue Jays in firm control, 5 up on the Yankees. Thought it was more than 5. I guess it's still 5 because they both won last night. Jays have won 6 in a row, so that's fantastic. Yankees put a hurting on some Minnesota pitching and ended up holding on by only a 1-run, but a W is a W, as Mike Francesa would say. Red Sox was dropping that game to the A's. That put them in a precarious spot because Cleveland has won 9 out of 10. So Cleveland has now injected itself back in there, not really in the division, even though they're playing Detroit head-to-head right now, but in the wild card. Seattle did get the 10 in a row. That's so amazing. 10 wins in a row, especially in September, just hits different. Seattle is white hot. They are half game up on Houston, who's going to be without Jordan. That's going to be tough. Texas starting to fall out of it with these last 3 losses. We all know about the NL East. That's wrapped up. NL Central virtually wrapped up, although the Cubs and Cade Horton did beat the Pirates and Paul Skeens yesterday, so we'll probably check in on that. Dodgers blow the game last night. They still remain up 2 games on the Padres since they lost to the Mets. The wild card is where it's gotten intriguing. Especially, I'm just going to skip right to the National League. The Diamondbacks have come out of freaking left field and now are the closest team to the Mets, 1.5 behind. They've won 4 in a row. Because they've been playing the Giants head-to-head, the Giants now drop back to 3 back. The Reds are 3 back. This has been a topsy-turvy chase of the Mets. The Mets have won 2 in a row to restore a little bit of order in Queens. So that's interesting in the NL side. In the AL side, that Cleveland team, 9-1. They creep within 2.5 of Boston, who suddenly have been a little clunky the last few games. I expect them to come out of it, but we'll see. In Texas, the 3 losses in a row have really hurt them. So that's the play. That's the situation at the moment. Hello.
Hi.
What do you got?
Where are your lighters?
I got a couple right here, and they're all in the drawers.
Okay.
In that drawer, in the coffee drawer. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to watch Connelly Early right away because I had not really paid much attention. Interesting that he got to face the same team twice in his first 2 starts, which kind of sucks. This reminds me of the Texas League, which is a league I played in AA. Sorry, I got an itchy nostril.
Need a tissue?
I might need a tissue. I'm okay, though. Where there's only 8 teams in the league and you really only play the other 3 teams in your division over and over and over again. So that's tricky for a starter, really for any pitcher, to keep facing hitters more and more and more. That's one of the trickiest things about this game. The more the hitters see you, the better you get. The better they get against you. So let's just see how he gets his outs here. This game yesterday. His Fenway debut, so that was probably really... Oh, they'll probably about it. This was really fun. All right, so he's going to get Langoliers with the ground out here. Langolier's going to get a hit to lead off the game. He hit the crap out of that curveball. He's such a good hitter, and he was on to Early last game. Early did beat him, but he had good at-bats. We had good at-bats. Now Jacob Wilson. Going to get him on a changeup. He's throwing that kick change, -3 vert on his changeup. And just hit it in the radius of that guy, Cedon. Cedon might be the most dynamic overall fielder in big leagues because he can do it infield and outfield. His outfield is like almost Pico Armstrong level. So that's pretty damn good. Now he's going to punch out Nick Kurtz. Let's watch this whole at bat. The last start, he threw a lot of sinkers in like that on him early. That was kind of the early strategy. Good take right there. Curveball off that. So a lot of slider to curveball sequences, which tend to work pretty well. He's going to double up on it. And Kurtzy was looking for something else, so he freezes him there. Nice job. And then Brent Rooker is going to use the sinker on a righty. And I read somewhere today that this is not a thing he did in the minor leagues. So upon getting to the big leagues, the Red Sox have helped him a little bit with his game planning with certain hitters that they have more information on than they have in the minor league level. They've let him know it's okay to toggle your fastballs even to opposite-handed hitters. And he ends up getting a really good hitter, Brent Rooker, with a nice down-and-away sinker there to roll it over to short. So 2 contact outs in the first. Second inning's going to start with a hit. Now, a lot of people didn't think the fastball would play, the four-seam fastball would play, and it looked pretty good in that first game, but it's always, you need more information than one game. All right, ground out here on a sinker. So another sinker to a righty on 3-2. Gets him to chase off the plate, which is good. There's already one out in this inning, so there must have been a pickoff or something. Let's see. Pick him off right here? Oh, to be left-handed. What a thing of beauty, huh? Just to be able to get a free out on the base paths every now and then. This is typical lefty move. Fakes him with the head, looks at home. Goes over to the bag. Looks like Thomas was probably going on first move here. Yeah, no attempt to get back, totally fooled. And a good throw by Lowe, Nate Lowe, or Nate Lowe. Yeah, Nate Lowe. He's not a low. He's not a low. He's a low. But also note the lane that Lowe creates here. Little lesson here for your first baseman, or really any position where you have to make a throw and the runner's in the way. Maybe this is Romy actually. Romy takes a little crow hop here into the lane, creates a little better angle here, so he doesn't have to throw it right behind the runner. And he's able to get a clear path to making a really strong throw. And that's important here, because without a good throw, he's safe. So nice job by Romy. Nice pickoff. That's good to see. Hernandez got that ground out to the pitcher we saw, and then he finishes the second with a strikeout on a changeup, which was a pitch I was very impressed with. You don't hear a lot of talk about it, but this is a damn good changeup. And really, it's the overall quality of his mix that was so impressive the first time. These kids, a lot of them do come up now with quite a bit of arsenal. And there's been a lot of what I would call reverse player development taking place these days from when I was a kid. Like in the old days, they would draft a lot of arm talent and then hope that through the process of failure and success, you would learn how to pitch. And now they're doing it kind of the reverse way. They're drafting guys who already know how to pitch, but maybe they're lacking some of the special arm talent or stuff qualities, and then they're going and teaching them how to acquire those, like how to throw a few miles an hour harder, how to throw a few more pitches. So you're adding more tools to a brain that already knows how to process and pitch. I think that's kind of the case with this guy, Connelly Early. And this is a really nice sweeper here, left on left. You can see that broke quite a bit, and Butler was nowhere close to that, so that's a nice pitch. And we got Sherman ground out. Another sinker down to a righty, so that's something he didn't do as much of in the first start, so already getting ahead of it, making a little second start adjustment versus the same team. Now he flipped the lineup back over, Langoliers. He's even going sinker to him. And you know what? It's all about the location. You don't love sinkers to opposite-handed hitters, but mostly it's because it's like this whole area is just death. But if you're really fine with it and you handle the bottom rail really well, like where a lot of these pitches end up for Connelly, then you're going to be okay. You stay out of the danger zone, and you get it pretty down there, and that's what happened. Got to swing at it because this guy's pounding strikes, and ultimately it's not really the pitch you want to swing at. Speaking of strikeouts, he's going to start the fourth with a strikeout of Jacob Wilson, a very hard guy to strike out. And it's on a sinker. So, interestingly, he goes pretty heavy sinker approach in this game. Now he's going to hit Nick Kurtz. So he struck him out the first time. Probably a sinker in. This has been part of his game plan. Singer in, miss. Ooh, curveball. So this one probably just slips out of the hand. Yeah, it's just a little slipperoo. It happens. And then Brent Rooker single on a sinker. So definitely a ton of sinkers. Oh, this is going to be a hit that he does not deserve. Aye. All right, and then we got a strikeout, so he's going to come back to get the strikeout here of Thomas, Mr. Colby Thomas, with a really good changeup, get some fishing. Really nice pitch there. He's got a really good changeup. It's one of the things I'm excited about with him. All right, and then Hernandez to fly out to get out of the fourth. First pitch changeup again, getting a lot of outs with a lot of different pitches. Not great location with this one, and again, just hit it anywhere near Sadon. 93.4, so got a little bit off the barrel here. Just enough. All right, fifth inning. Brett Harris, single to lead off the inning on a curveball. Pretty good effort. Doesn't quite make the play. So an infield hit. And that brings up Lawrence Butler, who struck out the first time. He's going to strike him out the second time with the same pitch. That's a really nice execution of the sweeper both times. It's all about location. Really good job getting it away. Now Max Schumann going to fly him out on a four-seam. So here comes a four-seam up. I like that his velocity is holding pretty well here in the fifth. 93.7. There were a lot of sinkers early in this game, a lot of change-ups, so the four-seam will start to play once the other team sort of adjusts to that initial shape. Now, third time through, Shane Langoliers going to get him to pop up on a fastball. So ends up getting Shea for 1 for 3 on the day. Jams the crap out of him with the four-seam. He's another one who saw sinker his previous at-bat. So just showing you having two different fastballs kind of actually helps you beat that third time through penalty at times. Jacob Wilson's going to single on a changeup. It looks like he's going to be a soft hit. I mean, I think he hit this ball off a bounce. Did this ball bounce? No, it didn't bounce, but he throws the bat on it. 37.6 mile an hour is pretty amazing. So yeah, he's given up a couple cheapies for sure, and then he's going to finish this outing, strike out Nick Kurtz. Let's watch the whole. At bat. Sinker in. Not afraid to ram the sinker in on the big lefties. That's going to be a key. Does it again here. He's shown. I mean, Nick Kurtz is a top 10 hitter in baseball at the moment, and he's not really on to early that well. This was a really good 1-0 sinker. Just says, you know what, I'm doubling up, I'm ramming it in. I think I can get you to swing. And he's got exceptional run on his sinker, and this is kind of the one quality about his sinker that's great. It's not a ton of sink to it, 9.6, but look at that, 20 inches of run. So when he goes arm side with it, it really kind of heads towards that belly button, towards that belt area of the left-handed hitter at a much faster rate than they anticipate. So he doesn't even hit it. He completely swings outside of that ball. Misjudges where it's going to end up. I was going to go to the changeup. Wow, left-on-left changeup. It's just very, very advanced. Even though he doesn't land it, it's a very advanced choice. So the Red Sox have definitely encouraged him to make brave choices out there, and he hasn't backed down at all. All right, 2-1 sweeper, so now he needs to get back in the count here. Every single pitch had been moving in on Nick. Now he goes to the most extreme pitch moving away. That's a good choice. Gets the free strike there with a nice executed sweeper. Now we're at 2-2. Ooh, back to the left-on-left changeup. I mean, and it's an absolute dandy. Really, really great sequence. Really hard to pick up on that. And Nick Kurtz is frustrated. You see the gigantic F-bomb following this, but he is way ahead of this pitch. Left-on-left changeup, I promise you, that's a very advanced pitch choice right there. So Early was outstanding again versus the same team. He gets pulled at that point to a standing ovation. They end up losing it. I believe some runs came around to score Yeah, here on Weissert. These were the two big hits. Soderstrom. Such a small margin for error in this game tonight with the Red Sox only putting up the 1 run. Yeah, a little Fenway action here. Did hit it pretty good, though. Would have been probably a warning track fly ball at a normal ballpark. Maybe in some parks it gets out, but would have been borderline. Ends up being a double off the wall. Then there's a Brett Harris hit. And Weiss has had a good year for the Sox, but they get to him a little bit here. Get the 2-1 lead. Sox aren't able to come back, and they drop a spot back in the standings. But Early has done a beautiful job. I mean, he's faced the same team twice, so it'd be cool to see him face somebody else if he gets another run through the rotation, which I think he's earned. But at the same time, you know, we'll see. We'll see. They're going to take it day by day, I'm sure. All right. Let's get in the chat here for a minute and see what direction everybody wants to go in. I thought that was fun just to check in, though. Definitely a lot of people curious about Connelly Early and Red Sox stuff. All right, we got a lot of stuff in the chat here. Jeff Hoffman's fastball velo dropped noticeably. Injury concerns? How noticeably? I know Hoffman. I played with him in Colorado. I'm really happy that he broke out the way he did the last 2 years with Phillies. And then he ended up signing with the Jays. It's been a weird year. I mean, you see the chase rate, the whiff rate, the K rate are all outstanding, yet the ERA 4.64. So sometimes there's years where it's like you do it like you have to evaluate it kind of strange. It's like I've done a lot right, but I've also given up too many damn runs. And what's the sport about? It's giving up runs or scoring runs or not giving up runs. It's pretty much what it's about. All right, so we're looking for average pitch velocity by game. And we just want fastballs just so we can see. And we just want 2025. Yeah, look at that. So he's gone down precipitously. I think that's the word. Since, what day is that? July, the high point was July 21st. 97.7 was the average. That's really not that long ago. Now he's down to 94.5. That does seem pretty significant. If we go by, let's go by month here. Yeah, pretty big drop off from July to August and now further down in September. You know, he has thrown a lot the last few years and this year. So I'm curious about that. I'm sorry, I'll share the screen. This is the velocity drop that we're looking at by month. I'm sorry, guys. I always do this. So yeah, sitting 94 last night. I mean, look, it's hard for me to say that he can't get outs with 94, but what made him break out was electric velocity. 96, 97 with great slider, good split. And you see it by month. He was averaging roughly 97 through the first 3 months of the year. Then it dropped into the 6s. Now we're down to the 95s. You know, but the expected batting average, actually numbers are good on the fastball at the moment. Not the slugging, though. The slugging's looking real dicey. Whiff rate still there. What's the season looking like? Like, what's getting him killed? It's the four seam this year. 610 slugging on the four seam. He has given up a lot of homers. I do feel like his game is very, I'm going to come right at you game. There's not a lot of trying to spot pitches. It's more of that, I'm going to come at you with great stuff approach. Let's look at the shape of the fastball this year. 17.3 on the four seam vertical, 12 arm. Last year, 17.6, 12.2 arm. That's very similar. 2023, 17.4, 11.5 arm, very similar. So similar vert on all of the years. This 2023 is arguably his best year. 97.2 average. Last season, 96.7 average. This year, 96.5. He's very similar velocity-wise in every way this year to last. Slider. Had a little more depth last year. That could be something. He's averaging about 0 vert this year. Last year, averaging negative 2.5. Prior year, negative 1.7. I mean, it's pretty close. But it does suggest fatigue a little bit. What's his appearances and innings looking like? 67 games, 64 innings. This is a pretty big workload for sure. I don't know, you know, I think one of the gifts and the curses of the radar gun is like, yeah, we know how hard everybody's throwing. But at the same time, It does hold you to some standard sometimes that's not realistic and maybe dangerous to chase at all times. Did he pitch in last night's game? Toronto and Tampa. Yeah, he pitched. Ends up striking out 2 guys. I just want to take a peek, you know. There's a sinker. You don't see too much of that. I'm sure that he's very aware of it. Jeff's very aware of things like this, like velocity and stuff like that, because being a stuff guy, being a dominating stuff guy, you're going to want to make sure your stuff's there. And so I'm sure they're looking at the biomechanics, the testing in the gym, you know, to see kind of where we're at. Is this a sign of fatigue? It's actually a pitch that it's not a good pitch, but it's way off the plate. No business really even swinging at that. Then there's a walk here to Junior. I'm looking for fastballs here. So he stays away from the fastball to Junior Caminero all the way until pitch number 7. That's all he had right there, 94-2. Split off that. So you can see already it's, you know, the trust value on the fastball may be a little lower than it had been before. Now he gets 2 strikeouts here. Here's a 95-5. To me, it looks like he's not as tight in his delivery, not as upright, not as powerful, not rotating as clean. But again, like, I mean, I'm looking in at a one little game sample size. Looks like he actually does trust his fastball in this situation. That was maybe just a Junior Caminero thing, and he is going to strike him out here with a heater. Good spot up top. That ball had good vert on it too. That's 20 vert. And then Mangum, 3-pitch strikeout. For really a really clutch save. And you're going to need Jeff Hoffman. I mean, you signed him for a reason. One thing I've always liked about him is when the stakes get bigger, he gets more aggressive. And sometimes you're gonna hit him, but he's not usually going to beat himself out there. He's definitely going to go right at it. And here he just doors him a 94-3. I don't know. Let's keep an eye on it. The velocity drop has to be concerning. But, you know, maybe he'll get his second wind here in a week or 2. At least results-wise, that was encouraging. That was a big pitch for him. Do you think he might just be overly in his own head ever a slow start? I mean, there's no doubt he's a little bit in his own head, just knowing him, and also just it's natural for any pitcher who goes from, you know, 2-4-1, 2-1-7 back-to-back years. You get paid the big money. You think like, oh, now I'm off and running. But, you know, baseball success isn't like a perfectly clean line upward. And just because you've reached the pinnacle doesn't mean you're guaranteed to stay there. You know, he was great the last 2 years. And then this year, you know, like I said, he's still doing a lot of things well, but he's run into some contact problems. I mean, 1% barrel rate. So he's given up a ton of barrels. I wonder what that looks like. Yeah, he's given up 22 barrels this year. So, I mean, that's really the story of his season. 22 cookies. Or even if they're not cookies, 22 balls that were treated like cookies. And that's really been the difference. Other than that, he's basically the same pitcher. K percentage is great, over 31%. Walk percentage is fine for him. xERA says he's been a bit unlucky. But yeah, it's just the slug. So he's got to stay out of the middle a little bit and be smart with his pitch selection, I think. Just a touch. But, you know, it bears watching. Anytime you see a velo drop, you know, it's noticeable. But, you know, again, so those fastballs played last night. So that's a good thing. All right. Specter's asking about a lower half problem. Doesn't look like he's exploding off the mound. You know, it's a little bit of a misnomer mechanically that you want to drive off the mound with your back leg. A lot of times when you get pushy with your back leg, it sets you up for a mistimed and a very inefficient rotation pattern. And I used to run into this trouble a lot because as a kid, I was definitely taught to drive off the mound with that back leg. So, but sometimes you can overdo it. Actually, it looks like he's getting tremendous hip-shoulder separation here. I mean, you can see he's still very pulled back. Maybe his lead leg block. Maybe he's got a little bit of leg fatigue. Looks like there's a lot of wasted energy here through this lead leg block. Not very stiff on the front side. Looking a little Ottavino-ish, and we all know I didn't throw cheese like this guy, so I don't know. Hard to say. I mean, you know, these guys, it's hard to explain how long he's been throwing for now. We're going on 3 years in a row with a ton of appearances, so much practice. You know, the expectation is to throw hard all the freaking time. Is he wearing a tight sleeve on the arm here? No. They're different colors, no? Is this sleeve a different color than that sleeve, or is it just a shadow, or is that like a sweat thing, or is maybe that... You think that's the same shirt, or that's a tight arm sleeve here? Because if it's tight arm sleeve, that's usually a little bit of a red flag for me, that some guy is like worried about his elbow or something, and he's going out there with a compression thing on. I never understood that, but it also just looks like he might just have the hot stuff on there and it discolored that side of the shirt, which would happen to Edwin a lot, or me at times too, so that could be the case. Anyway, now I'm investigating all sorts of dumb shit, so Jeff Hoffman, we'll see if we'll just keep an eye on it. We'll just keep an eye on it. Okay, what else do we have in the chat? Manaea, I do want to take a peek at Manaea, because I think he threw pretty good. So I'm curious to see how that looked. That was a big deal. I think I saw Kurtz's first game in the show. I was thinking another donkey first baseman. There was a pop-up and he tripped over the mound. Next time I looked up, he's hitting 500-foot bombs. I know, he's basically young Jim Tomei at this point. You know, what a rookie year. Unbelievable. All right. There's so much in here still. I'm sorry, you guys. Saw Pitching Ninjas You Savage, Tyler Rogers arm angle overlay this morning. It's pretty fun to look at. I bet. I mean, they're extreme opposites, so that's good. 95 to 98, my rookie year. I threw hard at one point, but I was about to blow out, so that was part of that. Low-key loving the green AO perfectly positioned on your denim shirt. That's right. You see the vibes? Didn't Hoffman have... He had 2 teams back out of a contract with him, I'm pretty sure. Something with the Braves, something with the Orioles. I know he made a lot of comments about how he needed to shove it up the Orioles' ass this year because he didn't like the way that went down. So anyway, I think we're good on the Hoffman talk. We'll keep watching him. Do you think Mason Miller finishes the year injury-free? 2+ years since last injury, they do what the Sox did to Crochet. I mean, I have no idea. This is like a question that I've been getting a lot the last few days. I just want to make it clear. I think it's silly to speculate on people's health based off videos or just like, oh, this guy throws hard. Look, as a rule of thumb, it's really hard to stay healthy in general in MLB. Pitching a huge workload, but especially as you throw harder, it just becomes harder. You're putting more stress on your arm. There's more torque. I just think there's more chance of things going wrong when you're redlining like a Mason Miller and you're doing things that most bodies can't do. So would I be worried about it if I was him? Yeah, a little bit. I'd be prioritizing my health at every turn because you don't want to be I'm too good too soon, like a Jabba Chamberlain or something, and you never really get to see it through just because you're so electric and you're like, I'm unstoppable, I'm bulletproof. Like, we're all humans and you have to figure out how to stay healthy. But I don't know about starting. I think the genie might be out of the bottle with Mason Miller in the rotation. He's just too valuable out of the bullpen. Starting, it would take a bold team to do it, but he'd be a much different product. He would look way different out of the rotation. I don't think he'd be like a 100-mile-an-hour all the time guy long term. I know he did that initially when he started, but I don't think long term. All right, let me head over to yesterday's scoreboard because I think Cade Horton was something I wanted to look at. Ohtani was very interesting last night. The Dodgers losing that game. Yeah, Cade Horton. I think we'll look at him next because he's got the sub-1 ERA. So I think we're going to look at him next. There's a comment here about Skeens, who's in this game as well. Skeens' pitch mix is a huge help when he falls into trouble early. Yeah, I mean that's why I love him so much. He's the combination of the stuff and the pitchability and the wide variety of pitches and the command, like, and the poise and the brain. Obviously, the brain is outstanding. Yeah, Ohtani. We'll look at the Dodger game after this Cubs. We got to check out Cade Horton. All right. And Orioles always find a way to bang guys at medicals. Yes, that's happened at least 3 or 4 times in my life. So that I've noticed. Cade Horton versus the Orioles. I mean, no, not the Orioles, the Pirates. Pittsburgh Piratas, Chicago Cubs, Cade Horton. I think he's going to win the Rookie of the Year now, the way he's been rolling. Wow, he starts this game with an 11-pitch punchy. Guess we'll watch it. So it's the short arm. It's the weird fastball shape. It's a pretty good complement of off-speed pitches, but I do think there's something deceptive about this arm action. I think the ball kind of shoots out of there in a way that's a little bit different than other guys. Here's the sweeper. It's not a big sweeper. It's fairly fast, so it's sort of in the middle, but it has a little more depth than your average sweeper. There's that fastball. It's cutty. That's got actual cut on it, so that's what makes the four seam even more tricky. It shoots out. He hides it well. It also has a kind of a weird shape. It's not like a true super ride cutter like we've seen recently, but it's somewhere in between. I think of it maybe as like a Brian Shaw cutter. Maybe that's a bad example. Maybe it's more lifty than that. Yeah, I mean, this is 17.1 inches. But this is the shape of fastball we've been seeing a lot in the big leagues the last few years, get favored by analysts. It stays away from that 8 inches of horizontal run, that dead zone. Oh, wow. And then he throws a really good sweeper after all those fastballs. So he speeds you up. He gets you going. He's a tough guy to load off of. Yeah, he's got that Giolito arm action. Good call, jump gate. You know, we talked to Lucas yesterday. There's not a whole lot of difference between what he's doing and that arm action. I liken this initial move with the hands, the way the hands separate, and the front arm doesn't really extend out. When it comes out, it stays tucked as it gets in front of him. He doesn't like point it out. He just keeps it tucked. I liken that to like Keith Foulke, but Keith Foulke threw poo balls, even though he was a great reliever. He threw poo balls relative to Kade Horton. Kade Horton brings the noise out of this arm slot. So he gets that K. All right, we'll just do the result pitches, so we'll take a look at how he gets his outs. Curveball. I like his approach, too. He's got a good mix. All these young guys have so much more mix than they used to have. I've heard people call this the year of the mix. I think that's definitely true. This is the year that everybody seemed to have more pitches all of a sudden. Change up down and away. Very good location. Gets him out on the front foot. He doesn't have exceptional drop or anything on the changeup. It's not great separation, speed-wise. It's not really low spin rate. It's not a ton of horizontal break. And it's not a ton of vertical break. But I think relative to his fastball, it's got good separation vertical break-wise and horizontal break-wise, which is enough to get you off the barrel. And also, if you just look at the location of the pitch, and a lot of people forget about this aspect, but this might be the most important aspect of pitching at times. At the highest level, and it's just the location. Look at that, perfectly down and away. Perfectly down and away makes him reach. Now he's going to give up a O'Neill Cruz triple. So this is how the run scores. I think this is the only run he gives up. First pitch curveball. O'Neill Cruz looks like he gets it off the end, but nobody hits the ball as hard as him, really. So he still gets it 99.7. Hits it off that Clemente wall, gets the triple. So there's the first run on a first pitch curveball. Okay. Then he's going to get a Nick Gonzalez fly out on a sweeper. All right, so you guys want me to check in on Dano wants me to check in on Pomeranz after this because he had a cool outing, I guess. All right. Jack Sawinski ground out. I wonder what the stuff models are saying about Kade Horton. We'll check in on that after the outing. Just the public one on Fangraphs. I'm not gonna I don't have any private information, and every team bakes the cake differently. But curious what the general thoughts from Saris's Stuff Plus models say and PitchBot. Little fly out there. I have noticed watching his outings. He tends to get a lot of weak flyouts. Just weak. Here's another one, sweeper. This one had good shape, negative 16.5. I think it's something about the release. I think the timing is tricky of when to load against this dude. Well, kind of a crazy hit there by Henry Davis. Now Triolo fly out. You know, it's not like he's punching out the world. So, you know, it's just interesting to see a guy who's having this much success. You know, literally a sub-1 ERA. I'm sure the ERA estimators are closer into the threes based off his lack of strikeouts through this stretch. But if you're him, man, you just keep rolling. You're like at a hot blackjack table. You just keep going. Something's making you hot here, and you don't trust. You just trust it. Then he walks Horowitz. Now a strikeout of Reynolds. So this is where he's in a little bit of a hairy spot, and he goes to 97 here. Up and away, big time fastball, able to get a strikeout when he needed it. So it looks like he's very much in the put the ball in play off me mode, unless he's in trouble, and then he goes ahead and hunts the strikeout. So good pitch there, and then he's going to get O'Neill Cruz on a strikeout to end the inning. Little backdoor sweeper. Interesting that he took that pitch. That was a pretty good pitch to hit, but Horton ends up freezing him on it. So nice job there. All right, fourth inning, because he only goes about 75 pitches every game, so it's going to be very interesting how his playoff role plays out. And that's the way that fastball works. He gets a lot of pop-up on it, a lot of balls that are just missed, a lot of balls that hitters go back to the dugout thinking that they should have crushed, and they're not really sure why they didn't. They felt like they were on it. All right, here's another strikeout. Sawinski. Look at that. That's that up and away backdoor cut fastball. This is a perfect location. Lefties already have a swing through in this location anyway, and then on top of it, you get a lot of takes, and on top of it, his ball appears to start off the plate and then work its way back on. It's got a lot of layers to why this is a good pitch, and it's 96, so that's fantastic. Fantastic location there. Nick York is going to pop it up. Sweeper. It's getting a lot of pop-ups on the sweep. And then the fifth inning, he's going to get a strikeout of Canario. Let's see how he locates this sweeper. Yep, gets it off the plate away. Very nice. Henry Davis ground out on a first pitch fastball. Watching Schlittler last night for the Yankees, he was in a actually even more cozy situation than this. He was in the fifth inning. He had like a 10-1 lead or something like that. And he ended up getting a little nibbly. And it sort of ended up costing him a free win that was just sitting there on the table. And when you're in that spot, when you have the big lead, you have to make the other team beat you. You have to make them earn everything. And that's what Cade Horton's doing here. He's just attacking the zone. Gets the first pitch out there. Then he's going to finish this outing with this called strike 3 to Triolo. I guess gets the benefit of the doubt. Pretty good frame by, I believe that's Kelly back there. So he goes through 5, once again, 5 innings, 1 run, rinse and repeat. He's been doing this for months now. But again, I think something about this delivery is tough to pick up. Definitely the way that the ball stays behind the head. Like all the way, he's about to release it right here, and you can see the ball's behind his head. Then it shoots out. I know that there is a metric that Driveline has where it's like percentage of time in the delivery that the ball is precluded from the hitter. I know that Zach Greinke was noted at being really good at this. Maybe Cade Horton has a little bit of this effect. Looks like right here the ball's directly behind the head and it's about to be released. So if you're looking to pick up that white thing coming at you, you might have a little hard time. See if we can see it better from one of these cameras. I mean, he's right behind the head. I think that might be a factor. I don't know. Be curious to see what other people think about that. So there's Cade. He's been absolutely ridiculous. And this gives me an opportunity to try out a new toy that I was given by the boys over at MLB who have been so awesome with me, giving me this research tool. So let's see what we can pull up here on Cade Horton for a second. Because this tool is pretty dope. This might add a little bit to the show. So these are stat types. Let's go to top plays. Or we can either do stats and then go to splits. But we can look at like the most movement on his pitches and the fastest pitches of the season. Like here's a 98.5 mile an hour pitch. This is his fastest pitch of the season. So imagine you can't see it coming out and then it shoots out 99. That's sick. But anyway, I wanted to go to stats. I wanted to go to splits. And check out this post All-Star split right here. 8-1, 0.93 ERA. 11 starts, 58 in the third innings, 31 hits, 15 walks, 52 strikeouts. So that's what it looks like. He's not striking everybody out. He's mostly pitching to contact, getting strikeouts when he needs it. He doesn't even have a strikeout per 9, but 0.79 whip when you combine the fact that he's been really hard to hit, only 31 hits in 58 innings, and the walks have been great, 15 walks. So he's been outstanding in a lot of ways in this second half. Trying to click on charts here. Charts. Let's look through the heat maps. Maybe that's not working. Pitch arsenal. 50.26% four seam, 21% sweeper, 5% sinker, I guess. Changeup, curveballs in there. Anyway, this will be a fun tool to mess around with later. But that was Cade Horton yesterday. And we'll go back to the chat. Oh, we want to look at his stuff metrics. That's my bad. That's my bad. Let's hop over there because we'll just get the full picture of maybe what we're seeing and, you know, maybe what the algorithms are seeing, or this algorithm at least. Not plural. It got hot in here again. Ugh. Come on, internet. Going on right now. There we go. Kade Horton, Stuff Plus. Yeah, so it's got his fastball as a 91 Stuff Plus, which is crazy because it's not really playing like that. It's getting outs all day long. 82 Stuff Plus on the sinker, which he almost never throws. And then he's got a plus mark on that slider, which is that sweeper. That makes sense. Pretty good velocity on it at times. Big shape. 101 on the curveball. Hates his changeup. So it gives him a 96 overall Stuff Plus. PitchBot's a little more friendly. He says his fastball is a 60, which is a good score. Actually likes all of his pitches except for changeup. So PitchBot disagrees, but the Stuff Plus model basically says he's got a pretty good location, and really just his breaking balls are plus. So I don't know. He's going to be a fascinating guy to watch. Fascinating guy to watch. What is his BABIP this year? It's got to be low. I have it usually right here. Yeah, BABIP 261. That feels pretty low. Last year, 3-0 in the minor leagues. Yeah, minor leagues he always carried a pretty low BABIP, but it is the minors. So anyway, I don't know. We're gonna have to look into him a little more later. 91 Stuff Plus on the fastball, shocking to me. I guess it's because he's not getting crazy whiffs on it. It tries to strip out the results. It tries to predict results with the stuff. So it's characteristics that it doesn't love. And I mentioned his backspin isn't like crazy on the four seam, so it's not some outlier ride cutter. It's sort of in the middle. It's got decent ride, but not crazy. It's not like crazy drop in the other direction. It's got some movement to the left, but nothing crazy. So I can see, I mean, even though it's a fastball, I can see why maybe it's not quite graded as high, but it's playing really well. And the changeup has really helped him post All-Stars, J-Dub points out. It's been pretty good. I think Skeens can be efficient. I don't necessarily agree, Spectre. I think he can and at times has been. But it's also like he's so good at knowing the proper pitch to throw that he doesn't give them a lot of balls to put in play, which ultimately is the safest way to pitch. Although this year Skeens has toned down the strikeouts. He has gotten a few more early outs. Has there ever been a pitcher whose draft spot exploded like Horton did after he started throwing a slider in the Big 12 tournament in his draft year? That just doesn't happen. So it's a guy who wasn't throwing split sliders, all of a sudden switches it, shoots up the draft board. The draft's crazy, man. You can get what they call it helium. Get helium at the last second in a draft and really shoot up the board. I've seen it a couple years from some different guys. Sent teams into a panic mode trying to evaluate a new pitch just 3 weeks before the draft. Need to see his delivery from the catcher cam. Totally agree, Jumpgate. I wish we had that cam. That would have been great. Cubs look to be in a good situation from the playoffs pitching wise. So I think we got a combination of Horton, Imanaga, and Boyd, and now J-Mo threw really well the other day. So they do have some options. I will say Imanaga feels like the only guy who can punch out like, well, I mean, Boyd's got big strikeout numbers too, right? Boyd's got big strikeout numbers, I want to say. I was going to say Imanaga's the only guy who can really go out there and just miss bats on their team. But that could be unfair to Boyd. All right, Boyd's below average K rate now, 21.5%. Shota's even lower than that, 21%. So I'm way off on that. It's just one thing I love about Shota is the 0 walks. I mean, 4.4% walks. But no doubt, it's been a little bit of a different year this year than last, even though the ERA is about the same. I think he's just a tough matchup, tough as nails. So it's going to be interesting. Horton for sure, because the results have been so good. What about my guy J-Mo? How does his underlying numbers look? I think they're worse than this. Yeah, just no strikeouts. Another guy doing a great job with the walks. He's not going to beat himself. Yeah, they just don't have a lot of pitchers that'll take the bull by the horns and just shut down great lineups. So I think, if anything, I do have a little bit of worry about their pitching. I mean, they have good guys, but it's not what the other teams have, if that makes sense, because it all becomes sort of a matchup at some point. Oh, here's a good question. How fast do guys in the MLB who don't really follow college or the minors intensely hear about big-time prospects? Like, when did I find out about Paul Skeens? Paul Skeens was kind of like famous just because he started that year off so crazy with LSU when he transferred over there for that junior year. And there was like a couple starts that got some play, like Pitching Ninja was shouting him out a lot. I don't know. Somehow it got into our bloodstream, but then it was really in that College World Series, especially that game that Skeens pitched against Rhett Lauder, Wake Forest versus LSU. Plus, I played with a lot of LSU guys like LeMahieu, and they're really all over the place. So LSU guys are always locked in. SEC guys are always locked in on the college baseball tournament. So that's where I saw him, and that's when I started thinking, like, wow, like, could this guy be the #1 pick? Because up until that point, Dylan Cruz was the main guy. But I'm more into the draft than other guys. I always look into the draft. I care a lot about the draft. I think it's very interesting and a fun thing to try to, evaluate in an environment that's really hard to evaluate in, which is, basically me watching videos. But the draft has changed a lot recently, too, about, people have age models and things. There's a lot of stuff that is a little different when you break it down. Oh, Pomeranz and Thielbar were good gets. I forgot I was supposed to watch Pomeranz, so we'll just do that. 15 innings, 2 strikeouts. We'll watch the 2 strikeouts. Brian Reynolds, knuckle curve. This is a weird knuckle curve. You'll notice he gets good drop on it. This is a horseshit camera angle because we're looking at dogs or something, which is cool, but not what we're doing here. You'll notice he gets good vertical break, right? Oh, shit. This is Drew Palm. This is the first strikeout. You'll notice he gets good vertical break on the curveball. This is the curveball, -11, and it's interesting because he only has 2369 RPM, which is not a lot for a curveball. So you're probably wondering, how does he create that type of break? He has a weird grip that I've seen some guys use in the past where they kind of like flick it out with their finger. It's a really weird curveball grip. I can't even do it, but it's like they learned a knuckle curve in a different kind of way where they almost like push it. So there's no like tangential force that creates a lot of spin rate with this, but they kind of flick it out and they get it into the top spin orientation. So it starts heading down, and that's what his does. Really nice. I'll try to put it on the broadcast cam, but we're looking at this dog, so you can't really see very good. But he actually flicks his out, and that's why it doesn't need as much spin rate, because it's a little more efficient, I think, getting to the top spin right away. It also helps his ball not really hump. He doesn't have to go up to go down. He can kind of flick it out. So that's an interesting little trick that Pomeranz uses. And then here's a strikeout looking of O'Neal Cruz. Also on a knuckle curve. So he's got a little cutty. He's got that cutty fastball for a lefty, which is rare. And then he's got this interesting little knuckle curve. You know, and when you throw this style of pitch with the low spin rate, you can actually crank this ball up to like pretty high speed because you're throwing a little more through it and not around it as much as you would on a normal curveball. So you create a little more velo, 84.7, and he gets to -12. So that's a pretty good pitch. It's just interesting the way he goes about it. And also, if you watch him, he works really, really fast, which I bet is tough to face and very abnormal for a relief pitcher. He just gets it and goes, and gives the other team no chance to really get ready. Yeah, Kittredge is also really good. Kittredge is just basically like sinker slider, but a lot of speed. Spectre Edit's talking about my draft talk a little bit. You hear things that would translate to the league efficiently. Guys like Doyle, Arnold, Bazana. Like Bazana would teach teammates pitch selection with PowerPoint. Yeah, I mean that's gonna help you big time because the ability to like be prepared and make adjustments and use your brain to your advantage in this game is such an advantage. So you learn about that stuff. That's only gonna make you more impressive. So yeah, you see the vertical break on these pitches. The fastball is a little cutty. It's weird. Works well. Like I said, he almost speed pitches. Then that curveball is kind of straight down, a little death ball effect with the low spin rate. But yeah, look at the numbers since when he's been pitching over the last few years. It's kind of crazy because he came back after 4 years off and he's been shoving out of the bullpen. So awesome for him, awesome for his family. Just really cool. And I played with his older brother Stu Pomeranz with the Cardinals. If you've never seen that guy pitch, he had a hell of a sinker for the Orioles at one point, but he was a big prospect with the Cardinals when I got there. Really tall dude, sinker balls. These dudes are from Tennessee. Just big hosses that throw hard. All right, should we go look at... let's just quickly watch the Mets' first inning, and then we can maybe watch the Yankees hit a little bit, and then we can... Because those teams exploded, and that's going to be big for both of these teams. And then we'll watch Ohtani. All right, so we'll start with the Mets. Mets Padres. My guy Michael King was on the mound. He's trying to find his footing. He's trying to get himself back involved for this team. Let's not forget, he was the Game 1 starter, and he threw like a 14 strikeout gem versus the Braves or something. And we got to look at Manaea. So we have a little bit to look at here with the Mets. I think that's where I want to lock in right now. So they go right out the gate with 4 singles in a row off Kinger. Francisco, and a big, really good sign for Francisco is when he's getting hits on fastballs up in the zone. His swing tends to work more through the middle to the bottom of the zone. When he's hitting 4-seam fastballs, and this is a pretty good one, 17 inches of vert, 95, up in the zone. When he's getting on plane with pitches up here, that's a bad sign for other teams and a really good sign for the Metros. So a good swing there, line drive up the middle, gets the party started. Then Soto, he's gonna get a hit on a changeup. Michael King's changeup is big on fade away. It's not crazy drop, but it really runs a lot. That's what this pitch does, and this is why Juan Soto's so damn good, because look how he stays on this pitch that's floating away from him, lining it up the middle. And then Polar Bear comes up. He's going to get a sinker. And this is a lucky contact hit, so a little bit of bad luck for Kinger here. And it's 3 straight hits, and they get bases loaded, no outs in the first. I thought the first 2 were very good, very indicative of good swings by the Mets. Even this one to stay through a sinker, but this one's a little bit unlucky for Michael King. And really, at this point, I don't think any of these 3 hits are bad pitches by Michael King. So that's encouraging in a way for Kinger. All right, Nimmo. Let's watch the whole at bat with bases loaded. Starts on backdoor sweeper. Pretty bad catch by the catcher, but it was definitely a ball. Now sinker in. Ooh, what a front door sinker. This is a pitch that he's become a big bread and butter for him. I mean, this pitch is in and then it's not. So Nimmo gets locked up here. The only problem with throwing it now is it kind of takes it away from you a little bit later. So he's going to try it again here. And that's what I mean. You show it to him 2 times in a row. Second time you pull the trigger. Nims does a really good job staying short here. Shoots it into left. So 4 straight hits to start off the game. This was the first time where I thought that was probably a pretty bad pitch. And yes, it did. It has been saying 7.5, 7.6 extension jump gate. Good eye there, because that's a little excessive, and sometimes that's a bad sign for a pitcher. Although this says 6'1", so maybe the extension meter is a little all over the place. He is able to get a sick double play out of Vientos here, finally getting some contact that goes in his favor. This is actually middle, so it's probably the worst pitch he's thrown to date, and it gets 2 outs for it. Gets 2 outs on it. So that's very baseball. Somebody's saying he had 29 inches of run on that pitch to Nimmo. Did I miss that? 17, 18. Yeah, that's baseball for you. And then McNeil, though. McNeil makes it really hurt with this double on a sweeper. Jeff's a tough guy to face, especially when he's playing well, because it's almost like there's no real pitch type he won't swing at. You know he's swinging a lot. You know he's putting the ball in play a lot. There's not a lot of rhyme or reason to what happens with McNeil up there, so that makes him a tough guy to game plan for. When he's playing bad, yeah, you can just get him to hit a fly ball, but when he's playing good, he's annoying. And then it goes from really bad to really worse. Brett Beatty. Let's watch this whole at bat. Brett Beatty's swinging it well. For the most part this season. Much better than the other years. .29 inches of vert. Probably overall vert, not induced vertical break. So there's a key difference there. Induced vertical break, which is the metric that we talk about in baseball mostly. Because you can see the vertical break number is way different than the V break with the I in parentheses over here on the right. We care about this number. This number is always going to be bigger because it's always going to be different. And the reason why we care so much about the induced vertical break is that's what the pitcher is responsible for. It strips gravity out of the equation. All right, so he gets the 3-1 count, and he's going to attack Brady with a 4-seam here, and he does not miss it. Brett's been much more on time for fastballs this year, so that's a good sign. That's a good development for the Mets. And this is the thing. The Mets offense, even through their skid, was really, really good up until the Philadelphia series where they kind of stopped scoring. Also a little bit in Detroit. But the offense had been rolling, and I think that's going to be super big if they're going to go anywhere and they're going to, stay in the playoff hunt. Because the pitching is in a weird spot with the Mets, but the offense is still very healthy and very whole. They should be rolling. Then a little bit later, there's a Lindor home run right here. This is a sinker. I thought additionally, even though this is a sinker, I thought this was a good sign. Again, this pitch is in the upper half of the zone. This isn't typically how Frankie's swing is supposed to work. He typically works through the bottom of the zone. Let's watch this again. Pitch comes back, but it's at the top of the zone. But again, he does a good job staying a little more flat with the shoulders than typical. To me, it looks like he's a little more upright, which I think is a good adjustment for him. Slightly less in his legs. Yeah, not as much give here. And he's able to just pivot. So that's a very, 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 very good sign. It's something I always paid attention to when playing with Lindor, was just watching how he was doing on balls in the upper half of the zone. When he's hitting them, he's about as good a hitter as there is in the big leagues. When he's not, it gives you a pretty clear place to attack. And then Pete demolished this home run. He gets himself in a good count. Sweeper away. So really, it was everybody in the Mets offense yesterday. And this is what they're capable of. And this is why it's so tantalizing. It's the same with the Yankees, which we'll look at in a minute too. They have the capability of going off on any night. I mean, this ball was freaking destroyed. 113, 33 into the second deck in the gap. That's polar bear territory right there. Not a lot of people going there. And this ball just didn't have the run to it that Michael King's used to. Pete's used to getting pitched in. This ball just doesn't get there, and he beats him to the spot. And listen, I've given up a homer to Pete too. It happens. That's what he does. Big man swings hard. Now, I wanted to watch Alvarez. Alvarez got hit, right? Got hit on a pitch or something. Got hit with a pitch. And he got taken out of the game. I'd like to take a better look at that. 99 mile-an-hour sinker. And this guy's just been hurt way too many times this year. This is a direct hit. And the way that the ball ricocheted straight back to the mound means that it wasn't a glancing blow. This landed flush and then popped back out to the mound. So Alvy's as tough as they come. My dude's like a Tasmanian devil, ball of muscle, tough dude. But this ball, the way it just, probably right on this outside bone. This hurt a lot. 99 mile an hour sinker. Just feel bad for him. He's had a lot of this stuff happen to him. Oof. Direct hit. Yeah, right in the back of the elbow. And you can see, 99 miles an hour is no joke. I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often to guys with righties running it in. But this one sucks, man. That one hurts really bad. Hopefully Alvy will be good. So get well soon, Alvy. And he's playing with a broken finger in hand. It's just that hurt. That hurt like a motherfucker for sure. Yeah, Lindor is off from the left side when he gets Scoopy. 100% true. Rumor is that the Mets have successfully cloned McLean. That would be a good trick. What do you think of the Manaea Holmes piggyback tandem? Yeah, well, I'm curious to watch Manaea. Holmes, I feel like this is what he's capable of now. 53 pitches. He's given it everything he's got. They're asking a lot out of him relative to what he's been able to do the last few years workload wise. So let's take a peek at Manaea. He's going to start his outing with a strikeout. Big thing to watch is the level of elbow extension. Also, the usage of pitches beyond fastball sweeper. All right, looks like it's maybe a little more extended coming out of the backside. I'm focusing in on this elbow joint, how flexed or extended it is. Looks like we got a little more extension here than we had versus Detroit. That's a good sign. Physically, that's a good sign. So gets a strikeout there, ground out here on a sweeper. Still throwing the same arm angle. Ooh, he pounces on this. Thataway, Sean. Nice play. Freddie Fermin. Sweeper. Roll over to Beatty. So, nice first 3 outs there.
Dada.
Hey, what do you need?
Wants you to get him 3 pumpkins.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I still got to finish going on this stream, and then we'll go, okay? A little while?
Yeah.
Pound it?
Do you want to say hi?
Do you want to say hi? Come. The kid wants to say hi.
Archie, who's your best friend?
Mama.
Yes! Archie, how many pumpkins do you want to get?
You
want how many pumpkins? 3?
Yeah.
Say 3 for 3 strikes.
Pumpkins. Strike 'em out.
Say,
Punching tickets.
say, I did it.
I did.
All right, we'll go
say
after.
Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Little kiss?
All right, buddy.
All right. Dad's going to take you for pumpkins in a few minutes, okay?
All right,
we'll get pumpkins.
so Tatis is going to line out.
Yeah,
So far, I'm just seeing the
he's gonna
fastball to
take
sweeper.
He's going to take you. We'll get ready. We'll get you ready.
This ball's pretty well hit, but in the gap. Nice play. Now Arise. Ooh, jams the piss out of Arise there. So that's good. I like it. Working fast, attacking the zone. Gonna give up a single here to Machado. Still seeing all fastballs. Velocity looks about typical Sean. Nothing exceptional. Arm action, though. Little tighter than last year still with the flexion of the elbow, but overall looks okay. Body language looks good. Okay, Gavin Sheets pop up. Sweeper, 4-seam. Yep, that's where the 4-seam plays, that up and away spot. Good sign there. Who was that? That was Ramon Laureano. Jackson Merrill. Also, Sean has some experience out of the bullpen, so part of my opinion on this is, and the reason why I don't mind it, is because, number one, you got to find a way to utilize Sean's abilities, and he's going to be a really tough matchup for certain lefties and certain righties, but also he can pitch, more than 1 or 2 innings. He has familiarity in the bullpen. He did that with the Giants quite a bit. So it makes him a little bit of a pretty good candidate to help out there, as is Clay Holmes, depending on what the rotation looks like. But they need to keep these guys somewhat stretched out as well, because I don't think the rotation plans are are carved in stone yet, assuming they make it. So only throwing 89.7 here, but the pitches are still playing. Now here's the home run, so let's watch this at bat. Fastball 89.7. Jams him, fouls it off. Now sweeper. Drive to the left. See you later. Mar, I think that we should look at his arm angle by month instead of year because he switched it up midway through last year. So that number is going to be a little skewed. You know, because he spent some time higher up and then lower down. So there's a chance that it's all the way down. It was really all the way down to where it is now. So we should really check it by month. All right, so there was the homer. There's a fly out. I'm not saying his elbow hurts, but he's definitely not on his take back, especially a couple games ago. He wasn't taking it back with the same level of extension as it was before. And I know we all know he had some chippage, spurage, whatever in the elbows situation as he was coming back from his rehab. So that's just what made me think like that was a pretty obvious sign that, you know, even if you don't have pain, the range of motion's not the same as before, and any little thing like that can throw you off. He also threw a crap load last year, basically a career high in everything. Good swing by Arise there. That's just typical Luis Arise. And now the fastball's back, 93.3 here in the 8th. So that's a good sign. Didn't just decline and fall off a cliff as the game went on. He was able to resuscitate it. And then the 9th inning, we got a Sheets strikeout on a sweeper. Again, it looks like it's all fastball sweeper. I'll go check the pitch mix. And in a way, that almost sets him up to be in the bullpen as well. Yep, nice pitch there. So he was really cruising here. Does give up a double here to Merrill. That's just a pretty good swing. And then Ryan O'Hearn will get the final out on a fastball. So Sean does a nice job, ends up coming in. Pitches 5 innings in relief of Clay Holmes. Does a good job. Just gives up the 1 home run. Pitches fast. I didn't see any walks. Let me go to this game. Look at the pitch breakdown for these dudes. Player breakdown. All right. Yeah, Sean Manaea, 2 changeups. So part of what I think was happening with the changeup is because of that lack of extension in the elbow. Changeup's the pitch that you need the most extension to get it out into the right release point. I think he's not capable of quite getting there. I think he's a little locked up. Just my opinion. Don't know for sure. And I think that's affecting his ability to land the changeup. So he's basically, he's completely basically abandoned it, really. Now he's just a 2-pitch pitcher. So this makes a little more sense out of the bullpen, being a 2-pitch guy. Sweeper, 8 swings, 2 whiffs. 4-seam, 31 swings, 7 whiffs. So he's going to have to be a little more contact guy. It's going to come down to execution. But I still think he's very useful for this Mets team, particularly in certain matchups. So encouraging game. You know, he got some results finally. That's what he needed to do. Anyway. Yeah, he gradually got down to 16 last year. That's what I thought, Mar. I mean, he made that big drop when he saw Chris Sale and he started imitating that. So that's kind of what I was looking at. Helsley versus Machado to avenge Alvey. Today's the day that Helsley becomes a Met. Wow. Did Helsley end up pitching last night? No, he didn't. He pitched the rest of the game. Clay Holmes, where are we at velocity-wise? Still good. Still good. I was curious about that. So that's a good sign when you're looking at a guy's health and everything. Just check the velo. Do I think Cal will hit the 60 mark? Well, what's he got now? 55? 56? Definitely got a chance, but I still would have to say no. He'd have 3 or 4 more homers is still a lot. Appreciate you, Spectre. We'll see you. We'll see you the next time. That guy throws 100. Helsley's pumping 102 on Fermin. I don't think it was on purpose, and maybe they do go for a pound of flesh on the Padres, but I guess we'll see. All right, let's go to the Dodger game. Dodgers Phillies, as the Dodgers needed this game a lot more than the Phillies. The Phillies had already clinched, and yet they went and stole it from the Dodgers anyway. It was Shohei versus Sanchez. This was a hell of a matchup. Shohei looked great on the mound, and he homered in this game. All right, so first let's watch Shohei pitch. All right, Bader. 100-mile-an-hour fastball. I love Bader in this leadoff role for the Phillies. That's pretty awesome. Also, if you've noticed, Bader is just like a fish in water in any big market, any pennant race. He immediately endears himself to the clubhouse, immediately endears himself to the fan base. He's got the boys wearing his What a Gift shirts already. He just has a way about it. So there's certain guys that have that vibe. Bader definitely one of those dudes. He's going to punch out Schwarber here on a slider. This is the gyro slider. Little top shelf accidental freeze. Walks Harper and Brandon Marsh in the 4-hole. Going to get him with a fastball. 98 down. Ooh, stabs it nicely. A little flick of the wrist, little flick of the wrist to first. Let's see this from the side. Bloop. Hopefully the first base coach here gets out of the way. Too easy for Shohei there. That was nice. All right, Otto Kemp called out on strikes. 99 again. Freezes him down. So Shohei tends to throw a lot of breaking balls. The fastball is going to play with 2 strikes a lot. Plus it's 100. Here's another 100. So the velocity's been incredible for a 2-time Tommy John guy who rehabbed while winning the MVP the whole year. To be throwing 100 is just amazing. He's throwing harder than ever after a second Tommy John. We've really gone to a crazy place medically. Here's the sweeper. This is his lethal breaking ball. It's the combination of the speed, 87.1 on that, and then 16.4 horizontal. So nasty. Big key is this speed, 87.1. That's what makes it way above average. And Shohei has like a way of kind of like leaning into it and creating like a really good approach angle on it. All right, 3rd inning. Still sitting 99. Overwhelms Bryson Stott. Ball goes to the warning track, but close doesn't count in the big leagues. And then Rafael Marchand, 99 again. Another ball just missed. But the velo's playing. The fastball's definitely getting a little bit off the barrel. Bader for a second time. Slider here. This one backs up. So a couple contact outs here in the 3rd. 4th inning, Schwarber. 94.6 cutter. This is a relatively rare sighting for Shohei. A cutter. Useful pitch up in the zone. Everybody talks about Ohtani losing the DH, the Dodgers losing Ohtani as the DH if he goes to the pen, but my question is, if he's pitching the 9th inning, do you really care if you lose it? Because then can't you just like put him in the outfield and then pinch it for the pitchers from that point forward? I guess it depends on your roster, who you got left. All right, so fly out there on the high cutter. Haven't seen a lot of that. Harper strikeout swinging on a curveball. This is a pitch he threw a ton 2 games ago, kind of out of nowhere. Wow, this was vicious. This was super nasty. You forget that this guy has such a big arsenal too, on top of throwing hard and having a good sweeper. That's a straight up hammer. Great pitch there. Brandon Marsh. Gonna go with the sinker to this guy. Very, very seldom thrown pitch for Shohei, but using the hole, using everything. Otto Kemp again. Slider, 90-mile-an-hour slider. Ooh, really good location. That ball stayed along the outer edge for a while before disappearing. Max Kepler. 99-2. And, the Dodgers are looking to put the hammer down and, like, get into a place of comfort here as they head into October, and they're really not in that place. They are not comfortable at all with their division lead. Shohei knows that he's going to be needed in the playoffs. These last few starts are important to him. Rustin Wilson fly out on a 4-seam again. So really, really good outing. He looked great in this game. 5 innings, no runs versus the Phillies, one of the best teams in the league, maybe the best team in the league. So great job. And on top of it, Shohei goes single, and then this home run off D-Rob, which, I mean, anytime you get D-Rob is impressive. Cutter, ball 1. He's going to come back with it again. Wow, this pitch is in off the plate with good action on it. Yeah, it's not his best fastball by any means velocity-wise, but the fact that he keeps this fair and he pitches 5 scoreless innings and then hits a home run, that's the Shohei experience. Gets them within 1, kind of putting them on his back after the bullpen had relinquish this lead. I'll never get. I'll never. It'll never not be strange to me that somebody can do this. So good. All right, let's see how they lost it. So Ohtani, then Roboleski came in. Ground out, single. Wow, look at this inning. All right, so this is how the rally starts. A little shoots the single through the other side. Now Bader, we've mentioned how huge and clutch and amazing he's been for the Phillies. What a pickup. He singles. So he gets Shohei out of the game, and they start to see a little opportunity here. Schwarbs. Get down. Yep, that gets down. Bases loaded, no outs. Now Harp. First pitch, double on a slider, and the Phillies are in business. Man, low line drive. Really used his legs well on this swing. Everybody's running, so huge swing. Look how he uses the legs here. It's just this little move right here where he stays in his legs, able to get under that ball, keep it in the air just enough. Very nice. And then it just kept getting worse. Brandon Marsh comes up and clips a home run. Just like that, the Phillies have the lead. Literally 6 batters later. This is a very similar home run to the one that the Fitzgerald guy hit in the Twins-Yankees game. Just a breaking ball doesn't quite get to the corner. You're able to kind of get out and around it, get the barrel on it just at the right part of the bat, hit it at the perfect angle, and backspin a ball out to right. So Phillies go right there, 5-run 6th inning. That's how they ended up taking the lead. They ended up actually relinquishing the lead again at some point. But they actually created a little more distance in them with this home run. Marchand off of Trinan. Yeah, 6-6 here in the 9th. 3-1 pitch, and he throws a cutter. And that's a weird home run. That barely got out. Wow. Let's watch this whole at-bat. All right, so this is a big spot in the game, obviously. You're 1 out away from sending your team up there in the bottom of the 9th and a chance to get the walk-off. Sweeper. Right on left here, so this is generally considered Trinan's weakness is getting out lefties, although Marchand's not a guy that typically scares you. 2-0 count, comes back with the sinker. Now the sweeper. Looks like Marchand ignored that sinker, and stayed on pitches moving towards him. And that's how he would be able to get to this cutter. Also, again, if you want to miss with a cutter, you don't want to miss in the downward direction. Man, what a weird home run. You don't want to miss in this spot. So, like, if this cutter actually stays up high and is in here, at best it's a foul ball, probably broken bat. But instead, you see where it ends up. It gets to the down and in spot. He's able to drop the barrel on it. Smash it out to right at 104.6. It does hit the top of the wall and kick over, so kind of an incredible bounce there. But that put the game out of reach. Devastating loss for the Dodgers. They had an opportunity with the Padres getting smacked around by the Mets to increase the lead. They weren't able to do it, so not great. Not great. There's a question in the chat about me, whether I was a good hitter. I think I was a good hitter, but I stopped hitting. At that time they didn't really let two-way guys, so I stopped hitting somewhere after my senior year of high school. That summer I was mostly only pitching, and then by the time I picked up a bat again in the minor leagues, I was lost. Couldn't hit velocity, couldn't see spin. Just didn't want to do it anymore. Just wanted to focus on my job, and so I was actually kind of happy when I stopped hitting. Thankfully, though, 2 hits in the show. One right-handed, one left-handed, so I can hang my hat on that. All right, we'll quickly, I thought there was one more thing I want to look at. I wanted to look at the Yankee offense for a second. Mainly just Volpe. Can we just watch the 2 line drive swings by Volpe to right field? Because this is what we're going to need to see from him if he's going to get playing time from here on out. This was, I thought, encouraging last night. Kid hadn't played in a while. He has basically played every day of his big league career up until this stretch. But check out how he stays on a slider here, a 1-1 slider. Zebby Matthews' best pitch, drives it to right. Doesn't try to pull it, goes the other way.
Dada.
Stays tight with the upper body.
Dada,
I know. We're about to go. I'm going to do probables in a second, and then we're out of here, okay? So if you could watch Anthony here, he stays closed really well. He doesn't pull the hip out early. Drives to right. I think that's a good sign. And then this other hit, too. Also, good swing decisions on a walk later. Then he drives this ball, first pitch fastball, through the right side on a pitch in, kind of inside-out approach. I think this is where he needs to be. Just do a lot of that. That's what the Yankees lineup needs. They need base runners. They need guys for singles. They have enough pop. That's what I like to see. So anyway, I thought that was a pretty good sign there from the Yankees. There was more stuff to look at as they had a huge day. Grisham had a big day. Rice had a big day. Really, the whole team. But I think it's so big. Like the offense is prone to these huge explosions. What's up, baby? I know. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So anyway, I don't know. We're still rooting for him. I think he's got upside. He did play well in the playoffs last year. If you're a Yankee fan, you're trying to figure out what the right formula is there. Boone mentioned on the broadcast yesterday that he didn't think Caballero was an everyday type of guy. So you're going to see Anthony in there, and I think that gives him the best chance of success, given the quality of arms he'll be facing in the playoffs, is throwing, his hits out to right field, not trying to do too much. All right, let's do probables, because the producer, yes, Alex, the producer's saying wrap it up. My little boss man here wants to go get more pumpkins, so that's what we're going to do. And here's the matchups for today. The before-mentioned Matthew Boyd is pitching versus the Pirates today. Cubs and Pirates. Reds and Cardinals, Brady Singer, Andre Palante. Reds are hanging by a thread, so they need this one. Orioles, White Sox, Tyler Wells, Martin Perez. Giants, Diamondbacks, another huge game. Giants season's now starting to get on the brink again. Diamondbacks are suddenly back in it. JV, Verlander's pitching for the Giants. He's been good lately and fought for the D-backs. Braves, Nats, Waldrop, who's been outstanding. We talked about him a little bit, young guy, and Brad Lord. Gavin Williams and the red-hot Guardians are in Detroit facing Jack Flaherty. That's another winnable game for Cleveland. We'll see if they can keep it going. Our guest from yesterday starts tonight for the Red Sox. Big Lucas Giolito, who's going against Mason Barnett and the A's in a huge game for the Red Sox. They need to win this game. They need to even up this series. Blue Jays, Rays, Kevin Gausman, and Ian Seymour. Gausman's throwing great, likely game one starter for the Jays as they're closing in on that AL East. Padres, Mets, two of my buddies here, Nick Pivetta, the stick figure himself, and David Peterson. David Peterson will definitely be getting playoff starts if the Mets make it that far. This is a big game for both teams. This is a good matchup, stylistically totally different. Fly ball strikeouts versus ground ball, some strikeouts. Bryce Miller, the number 5 of the Mariners, but would be like a number 2 on any other team, has exceptional stuff. Can they go for 11 in a row? Seattle versus the Royals. The Royals are cooked. Cole Reagan's there. Yankees, Minnesota. Luis Gil now trying to step him up. He's trying to step up his game and kind of grab that number 3 spot in the rotation for the playoffs for the Yankees over Schlittler, who slipped up a little bit last night. So we'll see. Big key for Gil is just throwing strikes. He's got too many walks. We know how filthy his stuff is. And he's going up against Taj Bradley on the Twins. And then we got Angels, Brewers, Jose Soriano and his sinker going against Big Woo, Brandon Woodruff, and the Brew Crew. Woodruff definitely going to be a playoff participant for the Brewers, so he would like to finish the season strong. Rangers, Houston, this is a huge game. Rangers season on the brink. They sent DeGrom out there. I expect him to shove against Houston. This might be his 4th start for Houston this year, so interesting to watch that. Then our last 2 games, Weathers and McCade Brown from Coors Field, Marlins, Rockies. And then Phillies, Dodgers wrap up their series. Or I think they do. Maybe they have one more tomorrow. Jesus Luzardo, the 3rd excellent lefty of the Phillies, going against Blake Snell, who's been outstanding for the Dodgers. So this is a great matchup of 2 lefties. All right, that's going to be it for today. We'll do more. I'll get some more of these questions tomorrow. Thanks, everybody who hung with me. The boss is telling me I got to leave. So thanks again. This has been awesome last couple days. Thank you so much for being in the chat. Try to get some more videos up there today, and we'll see what we got cooking. All right, peace. See you guys tomorrow. Oh, wait, I should mention it. I'll put this up in a post. Tomorrow's going to be a night stream. No more Thursday morning tomorrow because I have to play golf in a tournament. And it's a charity thing. I have no way out of that. So we are going to do the show as baseball after dark tomorrow night. So I will post about that. All right, see ya.